I'm just saying it because I'm thinking about, like, I always wanted to do a podcast and a video. It was like my dream. And I tried actually with my mentor in China, and I was bad. Like, I was really bad. In the end, we took some videos, but they were just like bad. We were like, doesn't make sense. Let's stop it. So actually,
that bad, and you still continued doing it.
Okay, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't like, he also wanted to be like very good. He wanted it to be very good, but it wasn't good. So you could say, and like quite obviously, it was my weakness to be in front of a camera. And the first videos I did, like an Instagram story, I took maybe like 40 or something, until I said like, I
feel you with that.
Yeah, I'm still bad, but let's post it. But then it's like, once you have a dream, or you know you want to do it, and you just face it and you do it over and over again. And then it's like, once you dream, like, you don't think about your weakness anymore. Like, I know I have weaknesses, but I kind of don't take them personally, or like, I don't judge my weaknesses on the way to the dream, you know? Like, for example, I know where I want to go, and on that path, I don't have weaknesses, because once I have a weakness, once I have fear, I will address them, because in the end, my dream is bigger than my weaknesses and my fear. But then, for example, if it's like, I don't know, climb the tree over there, which I cannot climb, it's my weakness, and it's not my dream to go up the tree. It will be like, okay, I will be debating on my weakness, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it depends where your weaknesses are.
I actually have a nice quote written from Les Brown about basically essentially that, in a sense of, everything that is worth doing badly. So everything what you have a big vision for, and this vision is really worth achieving, and everything on the way there is totally fine if you fuck up, because that is worthy enough to go through this. That I feel really, I think I wrote it down already like 2-3 years ago. That was quite important for me, this quote.
Yeah, it's funny, like, there's so many things that go wrong, but in the end, it's like, then I also think, like, why people don't dream, it's because of other people's opinions. It just is. Like, in the end, so many things go wrong. People laugh about it, like they think you're bad, it's your weakness. But in the end, if you think like, okay, things go wrong 2 years ago, we're still here, and the other people that talked about it are continuing their life. So in the end, it kind of doesn't matter. And in the end, what's super funny, like, I was out of my hometown, which is close to Frankfurt, like, for 4 years. I was sometimes there for a weekend or something. And I just went there last week. I moved there again, and I was on a party. And then there was a friend coming over, and he was like, yo, Chris, super cool to see you. So many, you like in Germany. They were all like, oh, you know, that basic things when you were away. And what's super funny is that many people looked at me like, huh? Like, kind of, is that the guy that is doing like videos, kind of, you know, because I started all this. And then I also have friends that I never thought that will talk about it, but they came to me like, yo, you know what? I love it, what you're doing. It's like, I gotta say, some people laugh about it. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, it's something weird to do because it's not something normal in Germany. Like in the US, it's something more normal, but in Germany or like in other countries, it's something different. And then it's kind of like, just by telling me that people were laughing about it, like, I would have been devastated or unhappy like some years ago, but today I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I love about it too.
I actually find also sometimes really interesting when people laugh about it, because when I look at people who try to establish or create something what they really are interested in out of pure intrinsic motivation, I'm like, cool thing, go for it. That's amazing. Doesn't matter how shitty it is, but they're doing their, like, going forward to their dream, right? And so that's why I find actually quite interesting to see why are other people laughing about it. Like, why
I mean,
would
it's
they
also
do that?
self-love. Because they're not loving themselves. They don't love the place where they are in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they need to look at other people and talk about them. Because they cannot talk about their dreams.
Interesting, yeah.
And it's funny because I've been together with friends, and I guess I gotta say that some friends of mine, I've gotten them a little bit into that topic too.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ask people like, what are your dreams? And they're like, they just don't talk about it because they don't have some, which is kind of a little bit sad too, but I guess we're doing a good job right now here to bring them as well into a better position.
Yeah, I mean, this feels just so much better when you just talk about your dreams and things you really put value in, because then you immediately start like to smile and oh yeah, I want to create this, and this is so awesome if I have just like 10 minutes doing this and that. I really enjoy and get energy from this. Then almost every conversation gets really, really good. You can almost connect with anybody if they have just their own passion and their project, what they're super into. And so that for me is just super cool to talk with people about like their passion, their interest. That's also partly a reason why I'm doing this, because I just enjoy seeing people talking about what they really enjoy. These are always really cool conversations.
And this also comes back to, you got to start with yourself. You need to be selfish. So you need to work on yourself, on your vision, start with yourself, go into a dark room and just work for yourself in order to then come back and be selfless and talk to people and like empower them to do something. And then it gets even cooler, because then you get the feedback from these kinds of people, like just by saying like, hey, thank you, you helped me, or something, which is like the biggest thing. And that's crazy, because that's super crazy. I actually 2 years ago in China, I still had in my goals and my mission and my vision numbers of dollars that I want to earn, or like money. Okay. I wanted material stuff. I wanted a plane. And then
a plane.
Yeah, I wanted all kind of things, which I don't judge. Like, people want it, and it's okay if they like it. And what's funny is I liked it too. I didn't judge myself. But now I still like some things. I still want money, but it's not the first thing that I'm trading, or it's not the first thing that I'm after. And like, if you ask me right now, I don't need a plane right now. Like, I don't need it. So I've just becoming different.
Mm-hmm.
And my vision, or like, just like, for example, with my page, but it's not real big. Like, I only have like 800, like close to 900 followers, which is like nothing. Right now, maybe in 10 years, it's different. But it's like, just, I already get messages because I placed ads, Facebook ads in India.
Oh, you did? In India?
And, like, I put English speaking countries, like, yes, India. And then I looked which one was with the best conversion rate, and it was India. So I placed some more money on India. And just, I'm getting messages from India, from people that I don't know. Just like, hey, you changed my life, thank you. Or like, super cool video, it helped me the last 2 weeks. Or like, can you please talk about this? And like, they sent me messages of like, this is my situation, blah, 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 blah. What is your recommendation? I'm like, and that is like so cool that I'm already thinking like, okay, I don't want to earn money. I just want to do this for the rest of my life. It's like, it's so cool.
Wow.
Just like getting that feedback is like, it's the best. So that's why I know that money and everything will come, but it's not my primary goal right now. Like, I'm happy with doing it, what I'm doing right now, and continue doing it. And maybe also sabotaging like the big amounts of money in the short term, because I don't need them right now.
What I found, but also super interesting, is like how you kind of select those things on which you really want to focus on, because as you also just said, you just feel so good when this happens, and you get so energetic when you explain it. And also it's basically the same thing for me when I try to figure out what my next steps are, or like what I want to focus on. It's just like, where do I get the most energy from? So I could have a conversation with like one person, and super deep into some topics I really enjoy, or having I don't know, a group of people of like 10 and just talk about chit chat or whatever. And I would always prefer this one conversation with just one person, because that gives me just so much energy. And with the other one, I just feel so drained afterwards. And so this is kind of how I select where I want to go next. And I think that is super important when you really select, okay, even which job I'm going to take, where's my, how would I describe my goals, or how would I select my vision? And I think that is quite important, to be self-aware of what gives you energy and what takes or drains energy from you.
And also, like, I mean, most importantly, it's you got to know where you want to go. And then it's also, as you said, self-awareness of which position you're in. So I got, for example, some job opportunities, some job offers, which would have given me money, but would have taken away time for me. So right now I'm still young. I said, no, I prefer kind of like not to take them and to have more time to do other stuff. But maybe if it would be like in 5 years, and maybe I don't like doing videos anymore, I don't know. You never know what happens. And maybe you have a girlfriend and you want to travel the world. Then you kind of take a different decision. But most importantly, I feel like we got to take decisions for ourselves, and kind of we know it in our stomach what we want, kind of that feeling, that gut feeling, or what our heart wants, or what our heart is saying. But most of the time, we, including myself in the past, we do more of what our parents want us, what society would say, what is the right choice according to your studies. And that's something that is kind of really sad as well, and that's something that I also want to talk about, which right now I'm going to switch a little bit.
Go ahead.
It is kind of like where we come from, as I talked about before. We talked about privately before that most of the people that document their journeys are like, have a crazy past. Like they are sexually harassed, or they're like grew up in a ghetto, or like they are super bad students. But most of the time, a lot of people that consume it are people that have a quote unquote normal life. They are just like normal in school. They don't have to worry a lot, but they're also not super driven. And then it's kind of like, knowing the different backgrounds they have. And we always say it's super difficult for these wild people with a wild past to kind of get normal and working hard and successful, to kind of fit into society. But then I also believe it's super hard for the normal people to step up. Because I would say you too, and me too, we are raised like, listen to the teacher, go to school, don't miss university. If you get a bad grade, that's bad. Don't stay up too late. Like all these normal things that for sure are right, but like we grew up being normal. So I feel like for these normal people, without judging, it is super difficult to become different.
Okay.
And that's also something that I want to do, because I have a normal background, but I have different dreams. So I kind of want to make the normal people dream.
Okay. So basically helping them to, because it seems often really hard to connect with those extreme people who are in Silicon Valley and came, as you said, from the ghetto, and they're like, oh yeah, this dude achieved it, but I will never, because it's just so different. Yeah, he had their luck or this, or just because he was working, I don't know. You always can find an excuse. But it's then, if, for example, you would now then document your life story, and within like 10 years, being also somewhere in Silicon Valley and being able to achieve similar things, then it might be much more relatable to the people in our surrounding, like how he got there.
Exactly.
Then you started with like reading or self-development, those kind of things, and which eventually led you there. And you I feel also that's for me as a person who also obviously wants to grow and self-develop, it seems like, okay, this person is basically doing the same thing or being in the same situation as I am. And then seeing what he does in order to get there is just super empowering and inspirational to actually see the process that he's doing. I find actually sometimes more inspiring than those extreme people, because it's just like, he was
they
in the
only
same
have one choice.
Yeah. And I was in this, for example, then in the other case, I was in the same situation, but he then decided to go that way and I decided to go that way. That's weird. Can I still go then maybe get there because he came from the same perspective?
And then I also believe there are people for sure that are super successful, that are different, that were normal people.
Yeah.
But what I try to say is that they are just not that open about it, or not that super high on social media. Not that I'm like the biggest social media fan. I do love social media just because of this, because I learned from people that shared their stories.
Yeah.
That's why I love social media, not because of stalking hot people, hot chicks, or like whatever, which I like too, but most of the time that. But then I'm like, these people don't share that much, or like are not that much on the spotlight. And kind of being more in the spotlight could help these kind of people as well. And I'm like, that's why I'm kind of trying to go a different direction. Like most of the people who are like super famous or like super into self-development are entrepreneurs. Like, and most of them, not all, like a lot of them are in the US. So I feel like, why don't we kind of like start it also in the not entrepreneurial communities, school, university, businesses? And I understand that they're like all like old traditional systems, and it is weird or like kind of different to bring in a course of international business studies, a course that is how to be happy. Like that's strange. But maybe just to like have a workshop on it like every third week, also in school, or maybe kind of making it part of it. Already that small shift kind of can give just like the, as we said before, the entry tickets to do it yourself.
Okay.
Because I feel like once you, like for me it was, like it's for everyone. Once you start, once you understand that you can improve, once you take on that self-development journey, which is in the end, like self-development oftentimes like seems to be something strange. But you can also say like, once you know that you can develop or improve yourself. Although improve is also not the best word, but if you formulate it differently, then people can maybe like understand it and like go the journey themselves.
And why do you think this is so important to teach, and why do you think it's so important to put out there?
Because I think in the end, it's the only thing that is relevant. Like if you talk to old people, even ourselves, even the people listening to this, if you go ask a friend, hey, what was the best last year for you? The only, like, I bet for 95% of the years, or like whoever you ask will be, yeah, that trip with my friend, that hiking experience. Oh yeah, we went partying in Barcelona. Oh, I went with my, like, if I ask my grandpa, I like to ask these kind of things. He's like, yeah, once I got my nephews and we had the dog and we were together in the house next to the beach. They only talk about experiences. And they talk about experiences with other people. So in the end, it's like relationships. And they never tell you like, yeah, the best in my life was that in the 9th grade, I had a 2 or I had an A in math. They will never tell you that. So that's why I think like just to increase happiness, although it sounds super corny, or just to have a better world, it is like actually focusing or teaching on the things that in the end of life, or like if we just like being real to ourselves, are the things that matter.
Yeah.
And most of the time we don't want to face them, but it just is.
I really like to take the example for myself quite often and think when I'm like in front of a decision or anything like that, quite usually something bigger. When I imagine myself now sitting in when I'm 80 somewhere in a chair and ask myself, is this going to matter when I'm 80 or whatever? Like this, because usually those smaller things seem to have such a huge impact when we have those experiences, but they're never going to matter in the long term. And so we still spend so much energy on those experiences, which in the end don't really matter.
Yeah.
And that is really important to reflect about this in order to figure out, okay, what are those important points for me that I want to focus on.
And it's the end, what we said before as well, like if once we have a dream, the small things don't matter, like the small steps. Like that's, in the end, these are the small steps that we need to take, but they can change. And that's, I think most of the time, that's also pretty sad that a lot of people, like for example, start studying or go into a job or actually start doing something, whatever. And then they have that pressure to finish it. Or like they don't want to, after 2 weeks, no, that's not mine, let's move on. I guess that's like, we don't do it that often. And I guess that's something powerful that we could do more often. Just like once we feel like, okay, that's something I don't like, just like go, quit, or just like go out.
Okay.
And like being okay with saying no. Like for example, today, I wanted to go out with a friend, and we had it planned since 2 weeks. We wanted to go out partying. I wasn't out in the past few weeks, so I was looking forward to it. And today I just don't feel that way. I'm just like, I don't want to go out. There are some reasons, but in the end, I don't know, I just don't feel like going out. But most of the time we're like, okay, I can't say no right now. And it's like, it's right, you need to have your integrity and do what you said. But sometimes you also just gotta be okay with saying no. It's like, and if there's like no major consequence, like if he's like traveling from the US and coming over to Germany, I'm like, yo, I'm not going to pick you up from the airport. That's like bad. But if it's like something super small, if you're tomorrow like with a friend and you say like, we go eat barbecue somewhere, and then you're like listening to this podcast or like reading that book, and you're like, you just want to finish it, and you know, you can go tomorrow to the barbecue, like just call him and say like, hey, let's go tomorrow and I invite you. But just like saying no sometimes. You
also said when you have this big vision, the smaller step kind of towards it don't really matter too much. Would you then say that the goal or the vision seems to be more important than the process to that?
I mean, that's again kind of in extremes. I would say yes and no. I would say yes, because it's the thing that drives you. But no, because I believe that you need to love the process in order to get there, because if not, you will be unhappy. So for example, maybe the small steps are right now doing videos for my dream of later going on stage and helping people. If I need to do this, maybe we don't know how long we need to do it, maybe 5 to 10 years, 20. If we don't like it, then we will be 20 years unhappy. So then like on the one side, this is bad, you know, you like, you got to change something. So on the one hand, you need to love your day to day, because that's what we have. On the other side, I also think like, okay, if you do something for 2 years that you don't like, but you then live 50 years happy, that makes sense again. So it's kind of a yes and no. And it's super it's funny because like even I have kind of my statements, I have a clear mind, I know where I'm going, but I'm very controversial sometimes with myself too.
Yeah.
And I'm super different. Like I have friends of mine, and actually that's something that I'm super proud of, which is funny. I have a friend of mine that says, Chris, you can be the craziest person, like just talking bullshit, not doing anything serious for a day. And the next day you wake up, we need to do an assignment. You're the one that works hard, that is super serious, and that won't laugh. And without being like arrogant or something, that's something I like, because that's the extremes that I live in life, but that I also embody. I'm like, I like doing crazy stuff and I like just working. But that's, you need to kind of like, as again, what I said before, once you love yourself, once you know who you are, you can say no to a thing that you did yesterday without neglecting it, but still embracing it. And that's like something, like these extremes are just something that I like. And it's funny because they make sometimes no sense. If you watch it on my Instagram, like I said, I traveled to 40 countries.
Yeah.
But then also like you can see myself on Instagram, like I like, for example, taking a cocktail in a 5-star hotel on the rooftop. That's like something that I like. That's cool. I don't need it every day, but sometimes I like it.
Yeah.
But then after that, I will go down and eat a kebab on the streets for €2. And I'm fine with it. Like, I'm like super, I save for 4 weeks like crazy. I don't go out. And then I'm 2 weeks just like enjoying life. And that's cool. I just love the extremes with, we could go through anything in life. I would also always think in extremes.
That's interesting.
And it's funny.
Yeah. And we now talked about a lot of things like your self-love, the self-awareness, your passion, the energy you get from things. What are maybe like the 3 major things for you think would be so valuable to share it with the others, so that like 3 things they should keep in mind?
I guess most of the people, or even including me, I would say something super inspirational that will make you think. But I want to go the other way, and actually something super practical, which I learned at the Tony Robbins event in my past, which I never thought that will kind of have an impact in my life, but really, and I also have a video on it on my Instagram, how to change your life in 1 minute. That's the video. And just like, that would be something that I will, like if a person really wants me to help them, would be kind of freeing them from the other people's opinions, making them dream. And the third would be changing their physiology and the way they feel. And that's something that most of the time you don't find at these, like on these motivational homepages or like sites. They're like super inspirational, which is good. But in the end, we only take actions, or we all know the some moments in life when we like, oh, that was me, that was great. Like, how did I do it? And then we also have that situation like, oh, that I'm not proud of it. That wasn't the real me. And that always only happens when we're in different states. So if we right now eat too much, we won't be super motivated. If you like go running, then think about something, you're more enthusiastic, you're like more optimistic. So it's like, once we understand the way our body kind of works, so actually sleeping, having a sleeping rhythm, super practical. Eating greens, like I eat 70% greens normally. Yesterday I didn't do, that's why I was a little bit tired a little bit today in the morning. But eating 70% greens, eating less than we usually do. Meditating, visualizing every morning, journaling, as we said before.
Yeah.
But most importantly, what I wanted to do is the physiology. So doing more sports, finding something that puts you in the right energy, and then doing it more often. And once you change your body and you put other thoughts into your mind, then you really change. Because you won't feel motivated when you're like in bed, you have eaten too much, and then like looking to a motivational video that like won't do anything because you did like oh no, I'm tired, I won't do this, like no, I won't go running. But if you like high energetic and you listen to something, then like go running, you're like, okay, let's go running, let's try it.
Yeah.
So kind of changing your way from the head, from up down, is one aspect, and from earth to your, like from your body.
Yeah.
That would be like the 1, 2, 3 that I would say. Kind of like really practical. Let's do some steps. Is like work out every second day or every day for 5 minutes or more. Eat more healthy. You may feel hungry in the first days, weeks, but it will go away. Then you will eat and you will feel empowered. Meditating, visualizing your dreams, just writing down your dreams, listen to a positive podcast, surrounding yourself with different people, saying no, and just do.
Yeah.
That would be like the most basic recommendation I would give.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Welcome.
That was good, man.